What's up guys, Hades here. So the great Tengu is available to look at. We have some stats, we have some reports, and he'll probably be coming out in the 5th anniversary in the next couple days, depending on when you see this video. But I want to break him down, where he's going to fit in the meta, and kind of the reports that we've already seen, what works, what doesn't work, and what he counters, because he really is a counter hero. Now, looking at his ability, his passive, when hit by a normal attack, increase self-physical damage by up to 8%, stacking up to 20 times, which means he can have 160 physical damage increase. Now that sounds really good, but you have to keep in mind that his physical attack is only 85, where an actual attacker's base is much higher. Now his physical defense is very good, 199, compared to an attacker, which is, almost double. But now we'll go back to that when it comes to the skills later. Let's put a pin in there. Now his active, remove all debuffs from allies. When targets have no debuffs, recover HP once. The recovery rate is 500% and grants front row immortals counterattack. Now counterattack, after receiving a normal attack, deal physical damage to the attacker of 150%, and it lasts 6 seconds, and it goes up to 9 when you have his artifact. Now there's a lot here, and we need to break down kind of each piece as we know it. Now the best way to actually evaluate a hero is compare them to other heroes who have similar aspects. So let's start with counterattack. We already have a counterattack hero, and that would be El Cid. No one uses El Cid because he's too niche. He is good in the very specific scenarios, like against Alex specifically, but his counterattack is only 100, and it only has a 65% chance of hitting or activating, right? So it's not nearly as good as Tengu's. Tengu's is 100% chance. Yeah, there's no chance rate, so it means every auto attack does the counter, and it's 50% stronger. So when it comes into this Alex and Ares meta, I mean, look at the top ranks. Ares, and they all have wind rage, which means they double attack. Ares, and Alex, and you just can go down our list, and you can go into the Throne of Supreme and every single main has one of those two in some way, shape, or form. The only team that doesn't is Mage with double tank, and those teams he's not gonna have. His counter attack is not gonna be that useful, but he has a lot more to him. His active also removes all debuffs and has a massive heal. Now, how big is his 500%? Well, let's go look at similar heroes that have healing, right? We have Fufei. How much does Fufei heal? 300%. How much does Theodora heal? Where is she? Here she is. She also heals 300%. So when it comes to a healing aspect, you're like, wow, Tengu heals more than a support. Well, careful there, because it only heals if there's no debuff. Now the key is if there's no debuff. The problem is, I think every team in the game, every real team in the game has some sort of a debuff. And I'll explain. When you are fighting any sort of whale, the Sandstorm is considered a debuff. Medusa's Petrification is considered a debuff. Khan is considered a debuff. And then even when you go down into one of my favorite builds, Kin is also considered a debuff, which means he won't be healing. In most scenarios. Almost all scenarios, the heal doesn't actually go off. Now, cleansing all debuffs, and that's all of them on every hero, is very valuable. So we don't want to not say that it's not good. You just have to be careful that the recovery you're getting isn't actually going to be applied that often, because debuffs are going to be applied so frequently. And we do have some reports to back this up. Now, the next part is that normal attack. I know exactly what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make attack and defense, the legendary skill, better. And if you've seen my tier list, I put this at the very bottom almost every time. I don't like this skill. It only activates 60% of the time. it does 400% damage, which sounds good, and it increases your physical defense, but in practice, it doesn't actually do that much. And we actually have reports that show this. So there was a post on GT Arcade, and this is very helpful, but we do have to pick it apart because not everything that people test is good testing. Some testing is not good. And the first thing that bothers me is it's only one report. One report does not tell a full story. If you watched my whale video that I just released, you can see that the top players are back and forth battling each other. If I just nitpicked one and showed that this is better than that, it'd be dishonest because it doesn't work that way. Second, they're both using Earth Dragon, and their main carries Medusa don't have the most important skill. And the most important skill is this. It's a purple skill. It's Fighting Master. Without Fighting Master, you get stunned. Even with Fountain of Life, you get stunned. Which means one or either Medusa could have got stunned and the other didn't. And that can completely sway these type of battles. Now, with those put aside, what we do get to see is the stats from Tengu. And this is the important part. When you look at Tengu, he is facing an Anubis. It's a mirror match, and Tengu versus Anubis is basically the debate here. Now, Tengu does soft counter Anubis, and the reason being is he's going to be cleansing that sandstorm. But because he's cleansing the sandstorm, look at the healing. It's 0, right? 0 healing is huge because that basically means that 500% healing that you're like, oh, it's super excited for, it's not actually going to be healing. What it does is it makes the Anubis not deal nearly as much damage. And you can see here, the Anubis, his most damage was attack and defense. Now going back to the attack and defense, we also have the attack and defense from Tengu, and it's only 5 million. I think attack and defense is a waste of a slot. I've said this for a while, and I'm going to continue to say it. The Anubis did 5 mil, the Tengu did 5 mil. There's way more value you could have than attack and defense. This could be something different. I don't know exactly what, but it could be something different and provide more value. Because in a team like this, Ares and Medusa are the carries. Something like Guard might actually be a lot better. And the same with the Fufeis. The Fufeis don't have lifelink, or excuse me, side assist. If they both had assist, they would be absorbing the damage instead of the Medusa. So a lot to be desired here. But what we do understand is the cleansing is very impactful. Now the counter attack. We get to see here, it's the same report, but here they clicked Ares. And Ares down here has Unbreakable Pact, which means he reflected 21 attacks and did 1.4 million damage. To be honest, that's not very much. When it comes from a damage perspective, Tengu doesn't do damage, even though they're trying to make him do damage, right? They're trying to make his passive stack up and do damage, and use attack and the defense and do damage, and then counter attack on him and your side, whoever's on his side, to do damage. In reality, it's not going to do that much. What he does do, and this is where we're going to talk about his good pairings, is he's going to allow the healers to actually heal. Okay, now look at this. Fufei heals 30 million, which is actually a lot. Sadly, we can't click it. But 30 million healing compared to the enemy 16 is a huge reason this battle was swung. Now, we can't watch the replay or anything, but that is a huge factor. We also see the Medusa did 50 versus this other one did 22. Now, I know this is going to be the Earth Dragon difference. Probably stunned either Medusa or Fufei, which means they healed late or did their damage late and snowballed this battle. All those things aside, where do I think Tengu lands? I think he is a nice counter to the meta. There's a ton of debuffing stuff in the game. Removing debuffs is fantastic, which also enhances your healers and gives them more potential to heal. Counters. It counters Ares, Alex softly. means they're going to be reflecting a lot of damage back on themselves directly, which is good, but the damage is not that high. And then when it comes to his passive physical increase, I'm not a big fan of having shieldman defense and having that be really effective. We've already seen a shieldman defense. Anubis does everything you want. He boosts the damage your allies do and becomes a soft dealing of damage. Tengu's gonna deal similar levels of damage, but they're not high, and he's going to be basically just there for the debuffs. I'd probably place him in the A tier. He's definitely not an S tier mortal, but he does have a nice place in the meta. I do think the whales are gonna probably use him in the second marches, but I don't actually see this one as being a huge power creep. I've had most of my immortals in the past, I've said gonna be strong, 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 strong. This one for the first time, I don't think he's gonna be like super, super meta. Because where does he go, right? The strongest teams look like this. You could replace Ares, but then you lose the knife through butter. So then you go, okay, no, I'm not replacing Ares. And you decide, well, I could replace Anubis. Well, then you lose the 20% damage that Ares and Medusa or Loki are benefiting from, and you go, is that even worth it? And no one uses attack and defense, and Anubis is debatably better at it. So none of the whales use that. So where does he fit? And I think I'm gonna put him A tier. Is he better than the non-legendaries? Yes. Is he better than Anubis? I don't think so. But yeah, I hope you guys like these kind of videos. If you do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.